working in an unjust system tends to move us to a place of decentering ourselves.
For our community, what led you to your current work? And how do you define rest as a practice?
So I am a first generation rest seeker, which means that I have inherited a culture within my family that breeds and prides itself on productivity. Um, I experienced chronic exhaustion and existential crisis, as well as debilitating anxiety. And that moment in time really is what ushered me into the practice and the knowing awareness of what stillness and rest is. And I define that through some studies that I've had across the multi-faith realm as existence and awareness of existence without action. So my mere presence is enough to be worthy of this moment, of this breath, without needing to do anything else.
Thank you for that. Esther, I know that you work with Black women, like those leading some of our healthcare organizations. Can you share what signals your clients have ignored or the emotional toll of working in unjust systems?
So little things like there's no bathroom break or lunch break in your schedule. And that can seem at the surface like it is indicative of a busy schedule, high demands, but part of it is working in an unjust system tends to move us to a place of decentering ourselves and our needs, and our very basic needs like food and water and all the other bio breaks that are involved, and leads to a way of working that doesn't actually model the health and the wellness that these leaders are actually trying to implement systemically, not just for patients, but across the organizations. And the toll really does become, I think about Imani's definition around rest, right? This idea that our existence in and of itself is enough. And we get that in terms from a self-worth place, but also we're talking about people who are leading, who really are at a place where their hustle, that kind of overproduction, is no longer the most valuable thing they have to offer an organization. It is in fact their existence, their presence.
I imagine, Imani, that you also see folks who are experiencing a level of burnout or exhaustion from the mission-driven work that we do. Can you share a little bit more about how one may start to shift themselves into a practice of rest?
Sure. The first thing I always invite folks into, whether they're coming to Huru formally or we're just having a conversation and we're in exploration, is to literally own their breath, to be aware of it, to anchor into it. It is the only thing that we have that we can identify control over, agnostic of wherever we are. It is the easiest access that we have to pause. And so that's the lowest common denominator. We can take the trips to Bali and really reset for 6 months. We can have a sabbatical for at the end of the year for a couple of weeks. But really, the easiest thing to do is to anchor into the breath.
What do you all think about what would it take to design a community or a workplace that includes rest as an active practice?
So much of treating burnout, dealing with things like compassion fatigue, even, we're talking about like how do you develop a rest practice, is positioned or presented to us in ways that make it extremely individual. And so one of the things I talk a lot about, we can talk about self-care, and of course self-care is valuable, but I often talk with clients, with friends, with everybody about developing a self-compassion practice. And in part that is because one of the sort of pillars of self-compassion is about recognizing our own connection to others, and recognizing then, therefore, for me to be well is intertwined with the wellness of my connection to others, others' well-being.
You have to create the conditions in order to live the way you desire. And one thing that holds true specifically in the workplace is this notion of accountability. Um, we can express our desires, but we also have to have partners, colleagues, leaders, direct reports who hold us accountable to what we've designed, what we've expressed as our goals. So if we have these stated goals, and it's important to say them out loud and for everyone to have the same shared understanding, resting in community is powerful.
For more conversations like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and learn more at meetattheintersection.org.